Hi team, welcome to my session on Coffee with Prab, and today we're going to discuss in this podcast how to prepare yourself for a Big 4 GRC interview or any consulting companies and all that. See, when you're talking about preparing a Big 4 GRC interview, it required combination of technical knowledge, industry awareness and more important soft skills. And in this podcast, we're going to discuss something around this area. And if you're looking for a detailed video on each and everything, you can check my YouTube where I have uploaded a lot of videos on GRC interview. But in this podcast, I'm going to discuss a very high level overview about what are the things you have to consider when you're preparing for the Big 4 jobs or consulting companies for the GRC jobs. So first thing is that when you're talking about GRC, governance, risk and compliance, they always look for a technical people, balanced technical people. So you need to have a technical knowledge. So here, if you review some GRC concepts and frameworks and regulation like COSO, ISO 31000, GDPR, SOX, okay, 27001, 22301, if you have a high level understanding about this standards, it gives you a good visibility and it help you to crack your interview. Second thing is that it is very, very important for you to understand the risk assessment methodology. Exactly. So NIST based risk assessment, we have ISO 27001, 31000, 27005 risk assessment. So you need to understand the risk assessment methodology and control frameworks, which is called COSO. And more important, you need to be familiarize yourself with GRC technologies like Archer or and their application. My humble request is before applying for any GRC job, check the JD. Are they looking for an expert in Archer or any third-party tool? Then according to that, you can use Google and prepare your job interview. So be prepared to discuss how would you implement COSO based internal control framework for a client facing a SOX compliance issue, because if you're looking for Big 4, mostly they're looking for a job around SOX and all that. So that's the one thing. Now, second important thing, they look for the industry awareness. They're looking for the candidate who have a awareness about the industry, what is happening in the industry. So stay update on the current GRC trends and challenges. Research about the recent regulatory change affecting the major industry, like now we have a DORA. DORA is coming, DPDP in India, PDPL in Saudi Arabia. So you need to have a very good visibility about what is happening in the industry. And also understand the Big 4 offerings, Big 4 firms offering what kind of a services. So, you be mentally prepared to handle such kind of things. Let's say example is there might be a question around discuss the impact of emerging technologies like AI, blockchain on GRC practice, how they're changing the risk landscape, how the DORA impacting the business environment. So if you don't know DORA, then it is a problem. So that's why you need to have a very good industry awareness. Things got changed in the last 5 years. Now they're interview is not asking about what is risk management. They also want to understand whether candidate have a awareness about the industry trends and all that. Third most important thing, you should be clear with some case studies. Okay, practice or analyzing a GRC scenario, use Google Bard, ChatGPT, get the reference. So practice analyzing GRC scenarios, propose solutions, and develop the structure approach to the problem solving. Let me give an example. So initially, a lot of white papers are there. ISACA, IC2 released a lot of white papers. So there was one white paper around, there's a global manufacturing company is struggling with third-party risk management. So, how they have fixed the issue, that can be a same question can be asked for you in the job. They can give you scenarios. Okay, the company is facing a lot of GRC integration. So how would you approach this problem? Because by asking this question, they want to know your practical knowledge. Okay, do check my GRC YouTube videos where I have discussed the practical knowledge. Okay, so that can give you better visibility. Okay, next is called behavioral questions. If you're applying for the leadership positions and all that, so they will definitely ask the question around behavioral. So prepare examples which can demonstrate your leadership's team and problem solving activities. And especially when it comes to Big 4, they always use a STAR method, STAR method, where they will give you the situation, what is the task you have to perform, what is the action, what is the result. So your response should be based on a STAR. Let's say example, they might ask you, tell me about a time when you had to manage the conflicting priorities in a GRC project. How would you convince the customer with the stagnant solutions? How can you convey the management about that particular risk? So this is basically test your behavioral aspects, right? Next thing is that if you're applying for a job, which is a client side, they might ask some question around client interaction skills. You need to practice some kind of a articulate complex GRC concept in a simple term. Okay, prepare to discuss how would you handle the difficult client situations. Example that they will give you role play scenarios where you need to explain the importance of implementing a risk management process to the resistant client. So they will basically look for that. Along with that, the next interview question they might ask you around the big four culture fit. Are you comfortable to work in a big four? So research about their firms, values, and cultures, and prepare the question that demonstrate interest in the firm and role. Like, let's say example, they can ask you, can you tell me about the firm approach to the innovation in GRC services? So here you can say, yeah, your company has involved a lot of digital transformations and all that. So when you show your interest in their company, that also build a very important thing. Nowadays what happened, they are looking for a project management skill also. Okay, so they might ask you about GRC projects, so PMP concepts and Gantt chart. So be ready to discuss your experience in managing GRC project and also highlight your ability to meet the deadlines and managing resources. They might ask you in this way, like describe how would you plan and execute large scale GRC technology implementation project. So that's something they will ask. Along with that, they can also ask you around data analytics. It's a new thing in last 3 years. So as an auditor, as an assessor, as a consultant, you should know data analytics. So you have to showcase your ability to use data in a risk assessment, compliance monitoring, and be prepared to discuss tools and techniques you have used. Example, like they can ask you about how would you use data analytics to identify potential compliance breach in a large data sets, or how would you identify the compliance issues in the audit reports. So with the help of data analytics. So they will might ask you the questions around data analytics. Along with that, the another important skill they will look for is soft skills. Okay, so practice active listening and clear communications, and more important, show adaptability and willingness to learn. They might ask you in this way, like, describe a situation where you had to quickly adapt to a change in a project scope or regulatory environment. Understood? That is how you take. So I'll share one example, like, there was a one question. Okay. So there's a question is, we have a client in a healthcare sector struggling with HIPAA compliance. They have a several data breaches in a past year. So how would you approach this engagement? So they have given me this question. So by this question, they can assess me on soft skills. They can assess me on the required knowledge. Okay. They can test me on data analytics, project management. So I will say, okay, I would approach this engagement in several steps. Example, like I will do initial review of the client current HIPAA compliance, check the policies, procedure, technical controls. When I talk about HIPAA, they will test my knowledge also. Okay. Then I will identify the area where the client falls short of HIPAA requirement. I will perform a risk assessment. I will develop the remediation plan. I will assist in the client in implementing changes, gaps, and also do the training and awareness. So throughout this engagement, I would ensure clear communication with the client. I regularly update them on a progress and also involve the key stakeholders in a decision-making process. And this approach not only address the immediate compliance issues, but also build the culture of compliance within the organization for long-term success. So this kind of a response demonstrate a structured approach to problem solving and industry specific knowledge and understanding of the broader implication of GRC work. So this is how you can able to prepare your homework before going for any kind of a GRC job. Do let me know how do you find this podcast, my new series. And if you find useful, do share your network, because more you share, more visibility we get and more value I get on my content. Thank you so much. Good day. Bye.